Buried in desert caves for nearly 2,000 years, the Dead Sea Scrolls were not meant to be found. But when they were, everything changed. The secrets they revealed continue to shock historians and archaeologists today. And some say that is only because we haven't uncovered all the truth these scrolls have to tell. Let's look at 5 secrets hidden in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and you can decide if you think some things are better left buried. 5. Some scrolls aren't in the Bible, but tell similar stories. It's no secret that the Dead Sea Scrolls were a game changer in our understanding of the Jewish faith, but what is surprising is just how much they echo stories from the Bible. You might think that since the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered in caves near the ancient city of Jerusalem and date back to around the time of Jesus Christ, it would be easy to assume that they're nothing but religious texts. In fact, we know that the community which hid them believed that they were guarding holy relics. However, some of the most interesting scrolls turned out to be copies of books that Christians would recognize. For example, Isaiah was copied many times by the sect living in caves near the Dead Sea. This was likely done so they could keep the prophet Isaiah's words close at hand. Considering the Dead Sea Scrolls contained books like Isaiah, it's easy to see why there has been so much interest in finding more of these scrolls over the years. If they found a copy of one of their sacred books, imagine what they could find next. So far, they've been pretty lucky. The oldest known copy of Isaiah dates back to 125 BCE. That's an incredible 800 years before the destruction of the Second Temple in Jerusalem. In total, over 900 manuscripts have been found, with at least one of those being from almost every book of the Old Testament. This includes Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, 1st and 2nd Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther, Job, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Isaiah. Some people believe that more scrolls are out there and could shed light on other parts of the Bible. Perhaps we'll even find the missing book of Enoch, which was never included in the Old Testament, but is mentioned in the New Testament book of Jude. 4. They describe a mysterious teacher of righteousness. There are still many unanswered questions regarding who exactly created the Dead Sea Scrolls and why they were written. What we do know is that the scrolls were created by a group called the Community of the New Way, or the Therapeuti. This community was very secretive and believed that its members should live according to the laws of Moses. For centuries, historians have wondered who exactly this group was. There are theories that the scrolls were made by an order of Essene monks. However, there's no way to be certain. It's possible that the scrolls are from someone else entirely, or that several groups wrote them. One of the main reasons for this is that many of the Dead Sea Scrolls refer to a mysterious figure known only as the Teacher of Righteousness. We don't know who he was, but we do know that he led the community in its early days. Some scholars say he may have been John the Baptist because his teachings seem to align with the Baptist message. Others believe that the Teacher of Righteousness was a member of the community who was responsible for writing many of the books in the Bible. Who he was remains a mystery, but one thing's for sure, he had a big impact on how the scrolls were written and what they contained. 3. Hidden codes and astronomy charts were found within. Of course, the Dead Sea Scrolls contain a number of religious texts. That much is obvious. But did you know that they also contain messages and codes hidden within the text? Take, for example, the Hodayot Pesharim manuscript. At first glance, it appears to be a simple religious work. However, when you look closer, you can see that there are messages hidden between the lines. These messages were written in a special code that took scholars years to decipher. Once decoded, they revealed some interesting information about the people who lived in the caves. For example, one message said, "Woe to the wicked, for evil has come from his very self." Another one said, "Happy is he who reaches the reward of this law and performs all its words, for it will be a blessing for him." While these messages aren't exactly exciting, they do give us insight into the kind of people who lived in the caves and what they believed in. But it's not just messages that were hidden in the text. Some of the scrolls contained astronomy charts as well. This is especially true of the caves where the texts were found. For example, one cave contained a chart that showed the positions of the stars in the sky at a specific time of year. This chart is thought to have been used by the people who lived in the caves to help them predict when important religious holidays would occur. The Dead Sea Scrolls are full of hidden messages and codes. It's just up to us to decide what they mean. 2. One scroll warns of a final battle between light and darkness. One of the most interesting aspects of the Dead Sea Scrolls is the sheer volume of apocalyptic literature they contain. It seems that the people who lived in the caves were expecting the end of the world at any moment. This is evident in a number of the scrolls, but perhaps none are as famous as the War of the Sons of Light and the Sons of Darkness. This scroll tells the story of a great battle that will take place at the end of time. The forces of good, known as the Sons of Light, will fight against the forces of evil, known as the Sons of Darkness. The battle will be fierce, but in the end, the Sons of Light will prevail. This scroll is thought to have been written in the late 2nd century BCE, during a time when the people of Israel were under the rule of the Syrian king Antiochus IV Epiphanes. The Syrians had banned the practice of Judaism and were actively trying to convert the Jews to worship Greek gods. This persecution led the Jews to believe that the end of days was near and that they needed to prepare for a final battle between good and evil. The War of the Sons of Light and the Sons of Darkness is just one example of the apocalyptic literature found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Other examples include the Book of Enoch and the Apocalypse of Abraham. These scrolls paint a picture of a group of people who were living in very difficult times and were looking for any hope they could find in the face of persecution. 1. Some scholars believe scrolls are still missing. On purpose. It's hard to believe, but the Dead Sea Scrolls aren't the only ancient texts that exist. There are others out there just waiting to be found. And if you ask some scholars, they'll tell you that's no accident. You see, the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered between 1947 and 1956 in a series of caves near the ancient city of Qumran. However, historians and archaeologists believe that there were once dozens of caves filled with these ancient documents. Now, you might be wondering what happened to them. Well, some may have been lost over the years due to natural disasters or human activity. However, some scholars believe that the scrolls were intentionally hidden away to keep them out of the hands of those who would seek to destroy them. This belief is based on a number of factors, including the fact that many of the scrolls were found in very remote caves that were difficult to access. Additionally, some of the caves contained security measures, such as hidden traps and false walls, suggesting that their contents were being kept secret on purpose. Finally, there are a number of historical accounts that mention the existence of lost scrolls, leading many to believe that they are still out there somewhere. So why would anyone go to such lengths to hide these scrolls? The answer, it seems, lies in the contents of the scrolls themselves. Many of them contain highly controversial material, such as alternative histories and forbidden religious texts. By hiding these scrolls, it's possible that their creators were trying to protect them from being lost forever or worse, being used as propaganda by those in power. What do you think? Are there more Dead Sea Scrolls waiting to be found? And if so, what secrets do they hold? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more echoes of the past. Thanks for watching.